relationship, but he was there that provided and was loving. But for me, it was my biological dad that I desired and missed, and was like, why is he messing up? Why is he not like, I didn't see him face to face from when I was 5 to 20 years old. Had my accident at 19, and felt called to just go and see him in prison.
Damn.
I was like, I was asking people, I'm like, I don't know, that's stupid. Like I shouldn't. They're like, I asked my girlfriend, who's my wife now. She's been with me since we were 18, and
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. Today, I have an incredible guest that I'm very excited to get to talk to, learn from, and connect with. I'm very excited about this one. But before I introduce him to you, though, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving comments, reviews, and likes on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you for a favor today. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, some type of insight, some type of information, a new skill, or the inspiration to go out and take action and make some progress towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with 10 people. Share it on social media, send it through message, send the link through WhatsApp to your family and friends. Share it with 10 people, since this is how we grow, this is how we share our message, and this is how we're able to motivate, inspire, and bless others to change their lives. And today, I have Joe.
Joe Delagrave.
All
Delagrave.
right, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Delagrave.
Yeah.
He's a husband, father, coach, 2 times Paralympic medalist, and keynote speaker. Whether he's coaching or on the court, speaking to audiences, raising his kids, or spending time with his wife, Joe aims to live life with faith, authenticity, and passionate purpose. At the age of 19, he was in a boating accident that left him paralyzed from the chest down. Not sure what life would look like in a wheelchair. Joe found an adaptive sport called wheelchair rugby, and he made his first national team in 2009. Played 13 seasons, served for 8 seasons as a captain, and most recently took over the head coach of U.S. wheelchair rugby. Through all the success, there's a common theme of learning through failure, right? Of making, like, not allowing circumstances to define who you are, and in finding opportunities in every obstacle. So this gentleman right here has a very inspiring story, and I'm very excited to have you, Joe. Thank you very much for being here, man. And you are welcome, bro.
Alex, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for introducing me to your community. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, man, the first thing that I do with my guests is I tell them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
75 seconds or less. Start the timer now. Let's do it. So I've been a guy that has loved sports my entire life. Growing up, through college, played football, through my accident, wheelchair rugby, the whole thing. And I always knew I wanted to do something with sports, and then realizing that there's not a lot of opportunities out there for people with disabilities to be able to work in a corporate setting. And so instead of blaming someone else or blaming the system, I chose to go, you know what, I can find my own path. And I ended up finding my purpose as a speaker, as a coach, as a consultant, as a husband and father.
Nice. Awesome, man. Yeah, instead of blaming, whining, complaining, right? You can take responsibility and go out and create an amazing life for yourself and your family. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, the life that you're living right now, despite everything that you've been through, right? So let's start from the end and then go toward the beginning. So a
Sure,
little bit
sure, yeah.
differently.
Yeah, right now, kind of what I do, my first two roles, number one, I'm a husband to April. We've been married for 15 years. Got married when we were 22. So right around hopefully 15 years later, you and your fiance will be be rocking it. And so that's number one. Number two is I'm a father of three kids, Braxton, Braden, and Brindley. They're 10, 8, and 6, and they are a blessing and a miracle in and of themselves as well. And so those are my first two roles. I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, you set it up perfectly, Alex. When we talked before we hit record, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that are chasing money. They're chasing the outcome, they're chasing success, and they're going to get it, and they're going to get their bag. And when they get their bag, they're going to feel empty. Their bag's full, but their heart's empty. Their bag's full, but their mind's empty. Their bag's full, but their house is empty. They have no one to share it with. And so there's like family is so important to me. And above being a husband and father, it's my relationship with God. I actually believe that there's a higher power, and that's something that is extremely important to me as well. But now, like right now, I'm a head coach of the U.S. team for wheelchair rugby, the national team, and coach for the Navy Wounded Warriors as well, head coach there for their adaptive sports team. Do keynote speaking where I share my story, not to inspire someone or be someone's inspirational porn, but to hopefully they look in the mirror and they inspire themselves. And that's the goal there. And then just love to be able to consult with other companies as well and help them with their leadership and their circumstances or obstacles that they're going through.
Nice. So, how did you call that? Inspirational porn? You call it?
Yeah, inspirational porn, man. So it's basically like it's looking at someone. So for me, I'm in a wheelchair. Can't see it right now on our video, but like I'm sitting down in a wheelchair, been in a wheelchair for almost 18 years, and someone might see me and go, "Wow, you're inspiring." And I might just be at the grocery store, Alex, like getting some milk for my wife. Like there's nothing inspiring about that, right?
Yeah.
But they look at it and go, at least I'm not living his life, and at least I don't have his disability. And it's just inspirational porn. It's using someone else's circumstance to feel better about your own.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so instead of that, it's like, no. Like my goal when I'm speaking is for you to look at me and go, oh, I should be inspired to look at myself and then take personal responsibility in my own actions.
Yeah. Great definition. That's awesome, man. So, man, I'm very curious about, like, even on your bio and even on your social media, you clearly states that you're a husband first, then a father, right? Then, and obviously all of that is like, like an umbrella protected by God, right? But you're all, I've seen a couple of times that you are a husband, then you're a father, then you're a head coach and everything else, right? So let's talk about that, man. Because look, I come from a Mexican background in my culture, right? Like the mentality that my family has is that, like, if your wife leaves you, you can get another wife. And like they say that your kids come first because, well, your kids will always be your kids, but your wife can leave at any moment, and then you can just get another one. That's the mentality that my family has, man. Like literally, and I've been like, and they shouldn't be like that, because if you marry someone, you become one with them, and then like the person that you should love the most is you, which makes her, right? So I'm curious about
I think for me it's getting my priorities straight. And I think I've seen so many like success stories that you see on the outside. And I'm sure, like, as you're going through this whole podcast where you're talking to modern gentlemen, there's hopefully you don't embrace it, but there's sometimes, like, we all fall, we all mess up, we all, like, there's mistakes and whatnot. But I'm on a pursuit. I'm 37 years old, and I'm on a pursuit to be a better husband at all time. And like, I want to show my kids that my wife is first. I want to show them what loving her is. I want to show them what forgiveness looks like. I want to show them what messing up and then responding to it looks like. I want to show them what grace looks like. And that's the example. That's the model in the home that they're going to come after. I didn't have that growing up with my dad was in and out of prison from when I was 5 to 20 years old. I had a stepdad there that was loving. We didn't have the closest relationship, but he was there that provided and was loving. But for me, it was my biological dad that I desired and missed, and was like, why is he messing up? Why is he not like, I didn't see him face to face from when I was 5 to 20 years old. Had my accident at 19 and felt called to just go and see him in prison. I was asking people, I'm like, I don't know, that's stupid. Like, I shouldn't. They're like, and I asked my girlfriend, who's my wife now, she's been with me, since we were 18, and she's like, yeah, you should definitely go. And going there and basically like reintroducing myself to him and rekindling our relationship was huge. But growing up, I didn't have my biological father there to show me these things and guide these things and teach me about faith and teach me about family and teach me about finances and like there's none of that. And for me, it's like the generational hand-me-downs that we get can be good or bad. They are what they are. We're born into it, but we do get it. Like everything I talk about is you get a choice, man. And my like, I don't with Braxton, Braden, and Brindley with my wife April. I don't want to mess that up. And I think a lot of times we can search for the money on the outside. We can search for the fame and success on the outside. And if your home's not good, if your foundation isn't good, it doesn't matter. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people that have gotten so many millions and millions or billions of dollars and they're miserable because they don't have anyone at home, or their foundation's cracked, or their marriage is in shambles, or their relationships with their kids are obsolete. Like that's the most important relationships I have is God, my family, and my kids. If I don't get that right, it doesn't really matter how good I am on the outside.
Yeah. There's so many people that are may not be broke who are broken, right?
Right,
And
right.
that's why there's a specific order towards having it all, towards becoming a modern gentleman, right? Physical freedom, you. Emotional freedom, you again, right? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. Then it's sentimental freedom, then it's financial freedom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like there's a specific order to like how life works.
Well,
So
and I think if I could add, I think like Alex, I think what you're saying too is so spot on because there's a lot of people that go, "Oh, I've got to." Like for me, I'm talking about my wife and kids, but like you're 100% right with a line, like recalibrating that. You've got to have personal care and personal responsibility for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to love someone, and the self care is going out the other side, and all of a sudden you're going to be broken, you're going to be hurt, you're going to be miserable. So like I love that and it's not a narcissistic idea or ideal. It is like I'm going to give myself the self care and the boundaries that I need so I can provide for my like. So you're spot on there, man. That's good stuff.
and I like this saying a lot. So one of my coaches said, your daughter will marry a very scary close version of you, right? So if you think about that, right? So most men think about that. Would you want your daughter to be marrying like someone like you, right? Your son will become an almost exact same version of you, right? Would you be proud of your son if he becomes like you, right? So you said you talked about how you are in a pursuit of becoming a better husband and father. So man, I'm also in a pursuit of helping becoming a better husband and father. I actually have a family coach and like a coach for every single area of my life. So I'm curious, man, like what is it that you do? How do you do it? What do you yeah. I just want some advice, honestly.
How do I
How does this pursuit to becoming the best version of you
what does it
of
look like?
you as a husband and
Yeah.
father look like?
Yes, yes, yes. It's presence.
Okay, got it.
And it's not like I travel a lot. Like I travel for speaking, I travel for coaching. I'm getting ready to leave shortly and being gone for 3.5 weeks. And so like
Mm,
am I, and I'm absent there in a way, but I'm also like present. And so like a lot of people go, hey, you got to have balance and you got to have balance in different areas. And as an entrepreneur, like there's not a lot of balance going on. Like that's it's full press every day, and you outwork people, and you get up earlier and you stay up later, but you still take care of your body, that type of stuff, get your sleep. But like it's integration. It's not balance. I integrate my kids into what I do. I integrate
nice.
my so like when I'm on the road, I'm FaceTiming and talking to them. When I'm home, like I'm in a wheelchair, dude, and I can't throw the ball 100 feet, let alone 100 yards anymore. But I'm an athlete, but like I'm a coach for baseball. I'm a coach for basketball. I show up at football, like all these different things. I'm present in their life because it's not so much that it's watching them play their sports, but it's the rides in the way, and I'm talking to them, and I'm building a relationship with them. And so it's 101 relationship building, but there's so many people that have kids that are letting the life go by. Like your kids are only young from 0 to 4 for 4 years, four
Yeah,
years.
man. My daughter is
And
about to be 3.
yeah,
She's so big, man.
Yeah. And then it's like my oldest son's 10. It's or my 0 to 18's already halfway over. We're on the back nine already with my 10-year-old. And it's like, and I think about that, and there's not a lot of time. But number one, I want to see them that I'm chasing my dreams, but yet remaining present, that I'm going after something and I'm working hard at it, and being an example there. But when I'm home, I am present. I am present with them. We do family walks. Some of them they don't even like, man. They're just like, oh, we gotta go for a family walk again. No, we're gonna do things as a family. We're gonna go out to eat as a family. We're gonna play board games as a family. We're gonna play sports as a family. And so just getting that time together, while I am home, we miss out on. You can be at home and never be present.
Yeah.
Right? It's an intentional thing that you do each and every day.
Man, when you said that, your kid, his journey from 0 to 18, like he's halfway there. He's, my heart literally like sunk and went to my belly, man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I felt it, man. Yeah. Damn, I'm still like getting everything that you said in. I hope that everyone out there listening is like, presence, integration, having one-on-one relationship with every single one of your kids and your wife, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man. That was great. That was great insights and great advice. So let's see. I got like all stirred up on my emotions. Let me just get my, yeah, man. So man, a lot of people go through struggle, right? And, I want to jump into your story. You've already shared, we've been here for like 20 minutes. You already shared a lot of insights and a lot of wisdom. And now I want to go back to, like all the struggle that you went through in order to like be here now with, being who you are. So like, how has Joe Delagrave has been able to be who he is right now, right? But, a lot of people go through struggle and they go through obstacles and everything. But most people let those obstacles break them. Like most people let those obstacles that they go through be crutches for them for the rest of their lives. But you found opportunities, right? Found all the obstacles that you went through as an opportunity to be someone greater, right? To like shine your light, to step into your full purpose and your full potential. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, you set it up great. We all, I'll tell you about my story, but we all have times in life that we go through circumstances out of our control, or maybe something that we did, we made a choice, like, and it's there. It's an obstacle, it's a circumstance. Some that, on the scale of what, there's some that are devastating, but like pretty much everyone goes through something: divorce, disability, disease. You're poor growing up, like your finances are, you get your job, you get fired, something like that. Loss of a sibling or a parent or a kid, and like, you and your fiance, girlfriend, like you guys have gone through something pretty traumatic with a lot of guilt. And there's so many, and what happens there is our human tendency is to start pushing. We want to move that obstacle out of the way. We want to like, we're going to use our own human strength and get it out of the way. And I'm 19 at the time. I'm 6'6", 260 pounds. I play football. Man, I'm a man, right? I'm invincible. I mean, even you, like, even at 21, you understand, like, when you're at 18 or 17 or 9, like, there's a different feeling of invincibility when you're at that age. Like it's
you think, know it all.
Yeah, man. And people are telling you things and you don't want to listen, but and my buddies and I were on the river, Mississippi River. Okay. My buddy Kyle.
Sorry for the interruption. If you're an aspiring, established coach, course creator, author, and speaker, I want to extend an invitation to check out my free training on the podcast Cloak Track Framework by clicking on the link in the description of this podcast. On this training, you're going to learn how combining podcasting with a rare concept that very few people know about called the Cloak Track can help you build a multi-million-dollar network of successful people who can become your clients, put you in front of hundreds of your ideal clients with your message, coaching, courses, and books, help you become a best-selling author, get you booked to speak on stages, or even making an extra $237,600 in the next 6 months. Click on the link of the description of this podcast to learn about the 4 simple steps to make this work. Step number 1 is alignment. Aligning who you're trying to be, what you're trying to do, your goals and purpose with building your podcast so that podcasting is a vehicle that helps you achieve your goals. Step number 2 is leveraging the cloak track to find an unlimited supply of your ideal podcast guest. Step number 3 is leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4 is the content machine, which is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. These are the 4 steps to making the podcast cloak track framework work, and I'm not going to hold anything back on this training. So click on the link in the description of this podcast, go and check it out. And once you've done that, if you feel like this would help, we also have a complimentary, free, absolutely free alignment call to get you started and show you exactly how to implement everything. Get access to the training right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
I was driving the boat. I'm sitting in the boat, and my buddy Adam is back on the knee board, and Kyle accidentally hits the bottom of the river. I go flying and hit my head on the front of the boat, inside the boat, and break my neck at the C6 and 7, 6 and 7 vertebrae down from the base of your skull. So instantly I go from 6'6", 260 to paralyzed from the chest down. Didn't know it at the time. I had no idea what that meant, no idea what the terminology was. But through the hospital stay, I was in the hospital for 3 months, and through the stay, they tell me, Joe, you've had a spinal cord injury at the C6 and 7 level. You're an incomplete, which just basically means like there's some nerves that whatever, and you're not gonna be able to walk again. And I'm like, what?
Holy shit.
And I'm laying in this bed, I'm paralyzed, barely move, tubes coming out of each and every one of my body parts and all, and they tell me I'm not, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And like, I got football coming up, and there's like, you feel you're invincible. Like, I know I'm hurt, but like, I got football coming up in a month. No way. Like, what's the chances of me walking? What 3%? I'm like, what? And in the moment, the questions that you have swirling around in your head at that age already, they're amplified. What am I going to do with my life? Who am I going to be with? What kind of job can I get? What am I majoring in? What am I doing after football? Like, how's this all going to work? And then you add in this wheelchair part. You add in, how am I going to do this as a man with a disability? How am I going to do this as a man that's paralyzed? How am I going to like even figure out what this looks like or what my identity is? Because my identity was Joe, the 6'6" football player, and now that's gone.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now? What am I going to do next? And in these circumstances or obstacles, you begin to start pushing, and I'm going, no, like I'm blaming Kyle, and I'm pushing that, and I'm going like, no, I can get up, I can walk again, I can walk, I'm going to start pushing, and there's nothing wrong with like believing that you're going to walk again from some, miracles happen, as and like, but for me, I'm pushing so hard against this obstacle, and I'm not allowing the support that I have and the love that I have and the faith around me to help me. I'm just pushing against it. You think of 2 people and you ask them to walk side by side, and they'll walk side by side together. And then you have the same 2 people and they'll stand face to face at each other, and you tell them to start pushing. Subconsciously, they will push against each other until someone wins. They will like, if we were pushing, like, we would push each other. It's like masculine tendencies to be able to be like, and even with women as well, like, you just push against it. But what happens when we push against it is we're missing the opportunity. When we're pushing against our obstacle, we're pushing against the circumstance, we don't want it, we don't want to do it. We're in this dark place, we're blaming people, and we become rigid, and we're pushing against something that we're not going to beat. Like, for me, and I work my butt off, and it's no fault of I can't walk. I'm in this wheelchair. I've been in this wheelchair for almost 18 years. But for a certain number of years, I'm pushing against the fact that I'm a man with a disability, that I'm a man that's going to be sitting down using a wheelchair. And I saw it as the obstacle.
So what are you supposed to do instead of pushing? Yeah.
So what happens here is it's blame, or it's mobility. It's paralysis. I literally am stuck because I'm blaming someone else, and I don't like my circumstance that I'm in. And it's like, you've got to go through some of that and mentally like have that space, but then you realize life's going on. Like I remember when I was in the hospital bed at the end of summer, I got hurt July 10th, 2004. Kids are going back to school about a month and a half later, and I realized life's moving on with or without me. I'm in the hospital bed paralyzed and I'm trying to rehab, but like life is still moving. Like kids are going to grow up and they're going to get their degree and they're going to continue. And like what I wanted is, you know what? I'm going to stop playing this blame game because I'm stuck in this blame game, and I'm going to start moving and choose to respond to my circumstance. And I'm going to start getting in the wheelchair, and I'm going to start figuring out how to get in the wheelchair. I'm going to start figuring out how to use it well. I'm going to do some wheelies. I'm going to jump off some curb. Like I'm going to start realizing that I got to live my life despite my circumstances. So you're choosing to respond to your circumstances, and that's where you get mobility. A lot of people are stuck in the fear of the what if in their circumstances instead of responding to the power of mobility in the why not? Let's rock and roll with it.
Awesome. So you can choose to be stuck or make progress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can choose. Okay. So, okay. All right. So, man, how old were you when this happened?
So I was 19 years old. I just finished my freshman year of college. So I'm in between my freshman and sophomore year of college.
Were you already with your wife and you already had kids?
So we were together when we were 18, like last freshman or last month of like senior year of high school, and then during our freshman year, she was at a school about 30 minutes away, and we dated. But 3 months in the hospital, she never missed a day in the hospital. Didn't miss a day. And when you're that young, you're kind of going like, what? Like I broke up with her for a little bit because I was like, man, she loves me way too much. Like
you didn't feel good enough, worthy,
you know? Yeah. And then I realized that was the dumbest thing ever. And so like I pursued her again, chased her back, and the rest of it. But like there's I talk about this acronym SELF.
Alrighty.
And I think when it's personal responsibility to look at yourself, and self is the S stands for support. There's people in your life that God's put in your life to support you. I mean, you got coaches all over the place and probably some pretty good mentors, and you got your daughter and your fiance, and like you've got support in your life.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're pushing against that obstacle, we're blaming people. We don't want to look at that, but we need people in our life to be human guardrails for us, so we can pull. They can pull us back when we need it. Right? You're a little too close to the edge, Alex or Joe. Like, and then we got people that are going to lift us up and say, you know what? Like, you told me that your goals are this, but your behaviors are over here. Why aren't these aligned? We need our support. The E is for effort. When we look in the mirror, we got to see that we put in the effort. There's a lot of times we want to see, Alex, I'm sure that you've looked at numbers on your podcast and you've been pumped and you've been discouraged. Like there's probably like the wide range of like, that was a really good day. That was good. That was a lot of clicks. Everything was great. And then there's like, why am I doing this? What in the heck is going on? Like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? But what happens there is we look at the effort we're putting in and we stop looking at the dang impact meter. The impact meter is a liar sometimes, man. Cause like, it's not always the social media clicks or the podcast clicks that we're in pursuit of something bigger. Like there's gonna be failures. There's gonna be times where the impact meter looks dry, but we have the faithfulness and discipline to push through it. That's effort. And then you look in the mirror and you see the support, you see the effort, and you see the love. You see the love. Love for me means the people around me, right? The love for my teammates, the love for my the people that I do business with, the love for a God who's given me an opportunity to do this, and I think there's not always times where I'm going to like everyone. I mean, even in your own family, there's not always times where you're going to like everyone. I don't like you right now. There's so, but you're going to love them. There's a love there. There's a respect there, and you're always going to love them. We need that love. And then the last one is F. That's faith. And we need to have faith in our support. We need to have faith in our effort. We need to have faith in our love. And we need to have faith in ourself. That's what's going to put you over the hump. Don't worry about the impact meter. Look at yourself, and you're going to continue to move on in the right direction.
I love that, man. Did you come up with this?
Yeah. So I had a buddy of mine He's a mentor of mine. That's why, like, I love that you have coaches, because coaches are so important. And he's a mentor of mine. He's talking to me before, and I've shared my keynote with him, and he's like, you talk about identity and you talk about your personal responsibility, and you need to talk about yourself. Like, we kind of hashed it out, and it's been something that I'm playing around with, and as a new keynote, and I think it's something that's pretty powerful. I'm pretty excited about it.
It is like this self. It is very powerful, man. Especially the faith one. Like, I didn't expect it for you to wrap it up all up. Be like, you gotta have faith in your support. Sometimes you have support and you don't even realize that you do. Like, you take it for granted, right? Um, like sometimes you're putting the effort, but you're like doubting yourself. So you gotta have faith in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
effort that you're putting, right? And have this sense of knowing that everything that you want wants you, and that it will happen. And like love is everything that is. Like, love is all that matters. Like, that's
yeah,
what we're all about. And sometimes we forget that, and we let fear creep in, right? So I love that. I love that, man.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it was great. So, okay, so you had your accident at 18. I know, at 19. You've been with your girlfriend since, well, with your wife now since you were 18. So, man, walk me through like the first couple of years, like how, because as a young man, like handling yourself is hard, right? Just yourself. Now
Yeah.
adding like an accident to it, adding like a disability to it, adding like a relationship, adding like all of these emotions. Like, holy shit, like it's a lot to deal with, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, walk me through that, man.
It was perfect, dude. There's no bad days. There was all rainbows and butterflies. No, I'm kidding. Like, there's some dark moments, some dark moments of crying and frustrating and mad at God and mad at my situation and mad at, like, why is this happening to me? I was the first person in my family, immediate family, to go to a 4-year school. Like, what, uh, like, why is this happening? And through the first couple of years, man, there's a lot of depression. I ate like a football player, but really was eating my feelings. I ballooned up to 285 pounds. Talk about taking care of yourself. I was not. But I had those people around me, that support group, those guardrails around me that kept me moving forward even when I didn't. And that's the honest to God truth. I've had a pretty positive outlook from the get-go, but there's people in my life that have brought me along when I was down. And I think that's why relationships are so darn important, because you need people that are going to speak honestly to you and truthfully to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes man type mentality does not work in business, does not work in entrepreneurship, does not work in families. Like, you can't just have yes man. You need people that are going to push back on you and go like, no, like, hey man, I thought we were doing this. I thought that, and you tell people about your goals, and you tell people about what you want to accomplish. So that way they can see your behaviors and go, are these lining up? Are you aligning with what you said you wanted to do? And you take a pause and perspective a little bit and go, okay, yeah, yes, they are. Or maybe, you know what? I gotta rework some stuff, gotta reprioritize. And so those first 2 years are not easy. I'm trying to figure out how to be a man in a wheelchair. I'm trying to figure out how to have a relationship with this girl, as this guy that has inadequacy issues and insecurity issues, and I feel unworthy, and like that's the reality of it. I'm 19, 20, 21 years old and going like, whew, I don't know. And that's where wheelchair rugby really helped change the trajectory of my life, and feeling confident and feeling masculine and feeling like I could accomplish some things in life.
Man, I can't imagine what you went through. There's, well, most men who don't have anything close that like that you had happening to you, grow up with like insecurities and feeling unworthy, right? Like, I can't imagine, what you went through. And, despite you went through it, and there's a lesson here, right? Because like everyone goes through obstacles,
Yeah.
but like while you're going through the obstacle, it's like it feels like so dark, it feels so heavy, right? And then once you get through it, you look back and you're able to reflect and be grateful for that, and be grateful for the lesson that you learned. But like one very important shift that could really serve everyone listening, everyone who's going to listen to this, is that you don't have to wait years right? You don't have to wait to go through the obstacle and then wait years and then look back to be able to learn the lesson. You can learn the lesson, right, while you're going through the obstacle. Like, and if you have that mentality that everything that happens to you, like everything is going in your favor, and there's said lesson to be learned everywhere, and you can use obstacles as opportunities, you can have that mindset, and anything that happens in your life you can use as a lesson that helps you move forward faster and with more ease.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
And you know, and you were talking about like the support group, like telling people about your goals so that they can keep you accountable to who you say you're wanting to be, right? Because if you tell people about your goals and who is it that you're wanting to be, they'll call you off whenever you're not aligned, whenever your actions are not aligned with who you say you're trying to be. And there, like, an insight came to my mind that I learned on one of my podcasts. A guy named Craig, he told me, what if God is deaf? You know, like he can't hear, right? Like everyone, like, how do you call when you
Pray, yeah.
yeah, everyone praying, like God doesn't, like he can't hear them. Like everyone is like this, right? Like praying to God, and God is like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, I don't know, right? What if God is deaf and he can see, and the only way to send him a message so that he can help you is by taking action, right? By like moving around, taking action, letting him see you, working towards your goal so that he can figure out, oh, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. Let me send you this. Let me help you with that, right? Or writing your goals down, right? So that's why, writing your goals work, because what if God is deaf? And if you write your goals down, he'll be able to see them, right? And be like, okay, all right, let me help you with that. And that's why vision boards work, because, you literally show him what you want. And, Craig said, most people are afraid to tell people what they want, right? Like if they're looking for a client, most people are afraid to post on social media. I'm looking for X amount of clients for this, for some reason, right? But like we should literally tell everyone.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, I mean, there's no risk. There's no risk when you're looking at that, and and it's okay to ask. But I like it because it's when you tell someone and you write it down, there's instant accountability.
Yeah.
It's vulnerability as well, doing that, putting yourself out there, but it's also instant accountability within that. But yeah.
So, okay. So talking about, goals and all that. So what does the future look like for you, Joe?
Yeah, like my whole thing is I want to be I'm pushing towards LA 28 as a coach. So we're in a cycle of Paris 2024 for the Olympics, Paralympics, and then Los Angeles is hosting in 2028. And so like that's a goal of mine as a coach, in building our program and creating bigger revenues and building up USA Wheelchair Rugby into something that's bigger and that people are more visible with it, and growing that from a brand standpoint is huge. And then with keynote speaking, I want to be one of the best keynote speakers out there, and I don't shy away from that. I think I have a lot of talent in it, and a lot of speakers quit because they don't get to where they want to go, or they don't get enough per fee, and they just quit. And for me, I truly believe that this is my purpose, and speaking to people and hopefully inspiring them to look at themselves. And I think it's something for me that I'm like, I don't shy away from. I don't put a number on it for money. I don't put a number on it for reaching, because I feel like for me, I'm obedient to what God's called me to.
Ooh, that was great. Obedient. You're simply a vessel.
Yeah.
Right?
And
sorry to interrupt, man.
Yeah, no, you're all good. So I think for me, it's that's where that's at. The other thing is, I want to feel, and I don't think I'm going to feel a sense of peace, but when my kids leave our house, April and I's house, to go on to become adults and do whatever they want to do, I want them to understand what forgiveness is when they leave, because I think that's one of the biggest things we miss as men. You talk about a modern gentleman, and a modern gentleman understands forgiveness, models forgiveness, sets pride at the door, and the true act of humility is going, I don't know it all. I'm sorry, I forgive you. Humble isn't like, oh, well, I have a couple keynotes and I do with the, like, no, that's just hiding behind a rock and being insecure, bro. Like that's not humility. That's called insecurity. But true humility is going, I'm going to set my pride at the door. I'm going to teach my 10-year-old, my 8-year-old, my 6-year-old daughter about forgiveness. When I mess up, and we will, when you mess up, and you will, when my wife messes up, and she will, are you able to model forgiveness in your household? Are you able to model grace in your household? I mean, man, if I'm talking about a modern gentleman, and you get the the SHF that you got going on, and your freedoms that I love, man, forgiveness is there too, and that's something that I want them to understand when they leave my house.
Damn, man, my core values are respect, humility, and wisdom, right? Like respect, humility, wisdom. That's how you motivate, inspire, and bless. There's a lot of people that are a motivation. Like someone, if you see someone who's jacked, right, and they're like, I'm jacked and you're fat or whatever,
Yeah,
they might be a motivation because you're like, you look at them and you're like, holy, like they're jacked, right?
yeah,
But they want to inspire you because they're assholes, right? Like the way
yeah,
you inspire people and you actually move them to take action and bless their life, motivate, inspire, bless, is from coming from a place of love, coming from a place of respect, humility, and wisdom, right? And like humility, I love the word humility, right? What it means. So I want to get some insight for you on that. And like all I ask for is wisdom, discernment, and amplitude of heart and love. That's all I ask for every single day. And so yeah. So I want you to share some wisdom with me about humility, man, because it seems like that word is important for you. It's important for me, but I feel like I don't have the full grasp of that word yet, but I'm looking to.
yeah. I think there's a lot of men that don't understand what humility is. And I'm not going to Webster's dictionary and reading like a definition, but I think what happens a lot, and especially men that are believers that believe in God,
You think it's
they
like making yourself
less, maybe if I'm less masculine, I'm humble.
hmm,
If I talk about my accolades less, I'm humble. If I shy away from speaking too much, maybe I'm humble. And like that's not humble. And I was taught that like through a lesson where I'm just kind of shying away from being a speaker. I started becoming a full-time speaker in 2018, so I'm new at it. Went through the pandemic, but it was a 20-year kind of journey to get me there from when I was 13, and it felt like I was going to be a speaker to 33 when I finally said yes. And the reason I didn't say yes before that, I think, is that I was calling humility, or I was calling what I thought humility was actually insecurity, and I'm hiding behind it and doubting and going, what are people going to think?
hmm,
What if I fail? What if I mess up? What if I don't make it? What if I don't provide enough for my family? And I'm hiding behind this shield that I think is humility, going like I'm just everybody else, and I get in this disabled world that's pretty tough, and like and you feel like, oh, I'm just another dude in a wheelchair, but I'm literally slapping God in the face because he's given me gifts and talents that no one else has. There's not another Alex Ramirez. There's not another Joe Delagrave. And your gifts are different than mine, and your talents are different. Like, and I'm saying no to it because I'm scared and insecure, not
that's
because I'm humble.
arrogance, right?
Yeah.
Slapping God in the face
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
by saying no to all of the gift that He's giving you is arrogance.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's stepping out and going, when I succeed, when this thing goes right, I'm going to honor my wife, I'm going to honor my kids, and I'm going to give glory to who deserves it. That's humility. It's
That's
not
amazing.
shying down from what you are, or who you are, or whose you are.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So you're trying to build a brand, like a movement, right? I'm also trying to build a brand, the modern gentleman brand, right? Like in a world movement of men, of helping men become modern gentlemen. That's what I'm trying to do as well.
Yeah.
So, and I believe it's my purpose. It's different, right? Like the motivation is different. So I see a lot of people that are motivated by things, right? Like they're motivated by all of
Yeah.
these things that they want to reach, so they're pulled by them. And then there's other people that are being pushed by like the opposite, right? By fear, right? By like not wanting to have something. And like most people have a motivation that comes from either being pulled or pushed. But like me, like I have this motivation that comes from within, man.
Yeah.
That doesn't end. It's
Good.
pretty cool. It feels pretty cool, and I have the feeling that you have it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and motivating, inspiring, and like I have a vision board right here in front of me, and I also want to become one of the best speakers in the world and speak. Like I don't know, I just feel called to that.
Yeah.
And I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months because of the people that I'm been connecting with and surrounding myself with, with my podcast. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so yeah, thank you for all the wisdom, man. um I'll, maybe, if you are willing to, I can invite you to speak to my event. I'm going to throw my own event next year, 2023, Q1 of 2023.
That's
And
amazing.
would love for you to be a speaker, bro.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
So, man, we are almost out of time. And I finished my interviews with 5 questions. The first one is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long answer
Go
if
ahead.
that's all right. But a lot of interviews that I do, I kind of wrap it up this way for perspective. And I think a lot of times we want to know why something's happening. Why, when, for you, like, why did this happen with your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Why did this happen with you or and we want to know why? And there's a lot of times like we don't get the answer. We don't understand the answer. And for me, I've been given a gift of threes in my life. And what I would tell my 20-year-old self, my 19-year-old self that's laying in the hospital bed paralyzed, I would say, don't lean on your own understanding. You're not going to get it. You're not going to understand why you're going through this. You're not going to understand the path that you're going to take, but you need to trust. A week before my accident, talked about theme of threes, and July 3rd, 2004, a week before my accident, I'm at this basketball clinic. I'm 19 years old, and helping out. And I had on this football shirt I had gotten in college that was from our kicker that had given it to me because I forgot my shirt underneath my football pads and I didn't want to chafe. And he gave it to me. And a week from my accident, I'm wearing it. And the camp counselor goes, Joe, what's that Bible verse on your shirt? And he said, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him and he'll direct your paths. Proverbs 3 on July 3rd. And a week later, I break my neck. And I remember that verse. My sisters had wrote it on my hospital wall. And I remember hating that verse, hating it, like rip it off my wall. I hate that thing because I wanted to understand why. I didn't want to trust in a God that did this to me and put me in this spot. And what I would say when I was 19 years old in this hospital bed is, Joe, don't lean on your understanding. Trust God. He's got a plan for you. I thought my athletic career is over. I played college football, and I thought I'm going around riding buses across the Midwest, and this is amazing. And maybe I got some outside chance at the NFL, like probably not, but like. And I found wheelchair rugby, and I trained for 3 Paralympics, 2012, 16, and 20. 3 Paralympics, wearing 3 letters across my chest, USA, all across the world. Where I thought I was just going to go across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
Crazy.
3 letters across my chest. I have 3 beautiful kids where I didn't know if I was going to have kids or not. With being a spinal cord injury, you don't know if you're going to build. I had natural kids. I had to get a vasectomy. That thing was working, whole thing, right? And 3 beautiful kids. And this was all when that 19-year-old kid was said, the doctor saying, you got a 3% chance to walk. God took a 3% chance to walk and said, get in the wheelchair. I'm going to make you an athlete. Get in the wheelchair. I'm going to make you a college graduate and a master's graduate. Get in the wheelchair. I'm going to make you a captain of USA. Get in the wheelchair. I'm going to make you the head coach of USA. Get in the wheelchair. I'm at 33 years old. You're going to say yes to being a speaker.
Holy shit, man. Like if you like, for anyone out there, like I think that what I want is pretty big, right? And you probably thought that what we wanted was pretty big, right? Being, traveling around Minnesota, playing sports. And anyone out there, you probably may think that what you want is big, but what God wants for you is probably bigger. And what you have to do is trust.
Trust. That's it.
Did you
Yeah.
freeze? Did you?
I'm
Oh, yeah,
good.
you were
Yeah.
frozen for a little bit. But yeah, man. Uh, did you hear what I say? What I said?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All you gotta do is trust. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
man. That was
true.
that was great, man. Yeah, I'm still like taking it in. The next question is mindset. What is a mindset shift that you've had that you think has contributed to your success?
Yeah, it's this mindset of permanent victory.
Okay.
And we're always I'm an athlete. I don't know if you're athletic or not. You look athletic, you look all fit, jacked up, out. Yeah, exactly. You know what it is. And we want to win. As men, like we're competitors. You want to win,
Yeah.
right? And in life, there's a lot of things that don't have a scoreboard attached to it.
Yeah.
And usually scoreboards like they're nice, right? There's a winner and there's a loser because the scoreboard says so, right? And my kids are all in soccer now, and there's ties. I'm still coming to terms with ties, man. I'm starting to fall in love with the game of soccer, but I'm like, I don't know about these ties. But and it's like, how do we go through life always having a recipe to win? And I've fallen on this thing. A permanent victory has to do with your choice in the circumstance, in the obstacle, and you're gonna go, you know what? I'm gonna blame and I'm gonna lose, or I'm going to choose and respond to your circumstances and I'm going to win. That's how you win, because you win by just the next step, the next day, the next thing, a little bit better each and every day. And like, that's the path towards permanent victory. You're always going to have naysayers. You're always going to have the chances and the abilities to blame, but you're going to choose to respond. And that's where the power comes into it. That's where we learn to grow. That's the growth mindset.
I like it, right? So you blame and lose, right? You take away the responsibility, your power of responsibility, your first responsibility from yourself, you lose, right? But if you give yourself the power of response ability and you choose, you win. Awesome. I like that. You made me think about a book, Infinite Game, right? It talks about how, life has no ending. Like,
Yeah.
it's an infinite game. It's like in soccer, right? Like there's a 90-minute timer. Like
Yeah.
if you score 2 and the other team scores 1, then there's a winner in this or loser. Well, in most things in life, like marriage, parenting, like business, we act as if it's a finite game. We want to win, and that's why most people fail, right? Like for example, in fitness, the reason why most people are obese and out of shape is because they thought that there wasn't like a finish line. In reality,
Yeah.
there's no finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good, man.
So yeah. So man, mindset map clarity, right? So do you have any advice for any people who may lack or may need some clarity in their life?
Yeah, I think that's good. I hope I can answer this correctly. What comes to mind, what's on my heart, is that so many of us get wrapped up into the starting line. It's not the right time to start. Oh, I don't know if I should do this. Most of us know like what's in our hearts and what's deep down, what pushes us, what makes us, what molds us, right? And we're scared to start. And like once you start, I don't know, when I'm playing games, and let's say, I don't know, whatever board game we'll play with the family, or like we'll get around, like I don't want to read the rules. I just want to start. I just want to start because then and when I'm doing it, that's where I find my clarity. That's where I find okay, we're starting, we're rolling. Ooh, I understand this now. I'm gonna go left. I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna go stay in the center. So that's something that's just on my heart there with that
Yeah,
word.
that's great. You gain clarity by starting, by moving, by taking action. Um, Mindset map motion. So what is a habit that you have right now that you think is contributing to your success?
Yeah, one of the biggest habits for me is to be able to have the discipline and the diligence to be able to do my daily devotions. So
Okay.
that's spiritual health. The discipline to take good self-care. So whether that's, and a lot of my self-care, I think self-care and mental health and physical health are pretty much tied to each other. Unless you got some like weird, like chemical imbalance, or not weird, some chemical imbalance that like you need medicine for. I totally get that and all that stuff. But like mental and physical health are pretty much married to each other. And so
Yeah.
when I'm out on my bike or my hand cycle or push or lifting weights or whatever, I'm both mentally and physically making myself better. But it takes diligence. You talked about it. It takes consistency. It's a choice each and every day in the infinite game. It's a choice every day. Like if you choose to eat like crap, there's going to be consequences. If you choose to lift and eat well, there's going to be rewards. Like my line to my kids, feel free to steal it. Anyone that's listening, stupid choices get stupid rewards. Like that's
Yeah.
where it's at, man. So you gotta be diligent each and every day.
Stupid rewards. Stupid
Yeah,
choices get stupid rewards. I
yeah,
got it until like 3 seconds later.
yeah, yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Let me just write it. Stupid choices. All right, cool. Awesome, man. Mindset map, motion, measure. What do you think about measuring and tracking?
Yeah, that's something I'm gonna be honest with you. That's something that I think I can do better in my career right now as an entrepreneur, in speaking, in social media, in coaching. I think it's good to kind of know where you're at. And again, but you just can't get married to like measuring certain things because I think it's sometimes we lose our discipline and
Yeah, the
faithfulness
impact
based
meter.
on that. Yeah, the impact meter. But I think there's a need for it, right? There's a need for you to get some fancy Excel spreadsheet that I'm not good at, but my wife is, and she helps me in the business. And so like measuring that out and finding and tracking and understanding where you're at, 'cause I think it helps boost some of that.
Maybe not need, but using it as a tool, right? Because there's a lot of people
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
are married to that their sense of worth is
it's
attached
tied.
to their net worth, right? Or,
Sure.
like you said, like you said to me, you probably had bad days in which you look at your,
Yeah,
impact meter and you're like, oh, why am I doing this? Right?
yeah,
Actually, it's happened, in other areas of my life, but not anymore because I detach my self-worth with my net worth. So like if no matter how I'm doing, with my impact meter, with my money, with whatever, I'm a fucking beast, right? There's a lot of people that if they make a little money, they feel little. If they make a lot, they feel a lot. And they are on this emotional roller coaster and
yeah,
like which just keeps them on the same path, right? But when you understand that, like when you understand and are able to separate your self-worth from your net worth, there's a difference. So right now that we're talking about measuring,
yeah.
right, you don't need, right, to you know what am I trying to say, yeah, to just like measure or anything, but it's a good tool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, cool, man. I really enjoyed this, man. I had a lot of fun. It was
Me too,
great.
man. Me too. I appreciate you, Alex. Thank you.
If people want to know more about Joe Delagrave, where should they go, man?
Yeah, jump over to my website, joedelagrave.com, over to Instagram, jdelagrave14. If you're angry, you're a coach, you want to hang out on Twitter with Elon, I guess, but like go over there because people get a little angry over that on the Twitter, but I'm at Joe Delagrave at Twitter. And yeah, check me out on social media or at my website.
Awesome, bro. We'll put everything, all your links and everything wherever this appears. And yeah, thanks,
Appreciate it,
guys.
man. Thank you. Take care, man.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms